So we've seen John Wick kill a guy with a pencil, we've seen him kill a guy with a frickin' book. So what kind of insanity are we expecting next from this badass mofo? Some kind of finisher involving a Q-tip and a maxi pad? Yeah, I miss you all too. Alright, so action isn't a genre that's frequently mentioned among the discussions of film connoisseurs, but its breakneck pace is enough to quench the casual moviegoer's desire for entertainment. In a similar manner, fast food doesn't qualify as fine dining, but it satiates the appetite of the commoners, right? If I wanted to analogize John Wick as quality cinema with cuisine, both of which I hold an elevated standard for, then I would say John Wick, with its myriad of mysteriously distinctive and harmonious components, collectively functions like an insanely addictive fast food chain. But the only difference is that this particular chain actually cooks in circles around its vastly inferior counterparts. In addition to the fresh ingredients, cleanliness, and exemplary regard for its consumers is a delectable medley of flavors in its burgers so inimitable that the recipe could very well be the secretive doing of a Michelin star chef. Wasting no time at all, John Wick 3 immediately picks up where the second installment left off. After breaking the rules and gunning down a member of the Illuminati-like High Table Council on the grounds of the Continental, which serves as a sort of sanctuary for members of this paradoxical underworld of assassins, John Wick is now declared excommunicado. With a $14 million open contract on his head and an hour head start given to him by his colleague Winston, John makes his way to Morocco in an attempt to track down the High Table's mysterious leader and atone for his transgression. Assisting John in his endeavor is an old mentor of his going by the name The Director, and Sophia, who manages the Moroccan branch of the Continental and is indebted to John for a past favor. Meanwhile, an enforcer for the Cabal going by the pseudonym The Adjudicator shows up to punish those who had a hand in helping John. I believe the initial factor that drew unsuspecting moviegoers in by the motherload with the first entry was the action's silky slick execution, of which director Chad Stahelski has tripled the ante with Parabellum. Utilizing more wide shots and long takes as opposed to those shaky cams, quick cuts, and close-ups found in your commonplace action film, Keanu Reeves' physical dexterity is on full display for the audience to appreciate. These tremendously choreographed set pieces are interspersed with peculiar beats of oddball humor that fringe towards slapstick in spite of the unmistakably dire situations John finds himself in. With Chad Stahelski's hefty emphasis on body language and physical performance during John's electrifying bouts of blood-soaked ass-kicking, the whole thing eventually gives off the impression of a dance in the league of a sophisticated Cirque du Soleil show. And much like Cirque du Soleil's virtuoso enactments, John Wick 3 succeeds with flying colors, pun intended, in the aesthetic sector. The deliberate, trademark application of signifying neon lighting never ceases to be superlatively stylish, laden with nuance, and sweet on the eyes. Kind of like the sweetness of that seasonal peach milkshake from Chick-fil-A when it coats my palate. Oh my god, it is so good. Chad Stahelski, Derek Kolstad, and colleagues have proven once again with John Wick 3 that the franchise is a bottomless mine of lore and world building. As this bizarre universe of Hitman Illuminati types with their blood oaths, posh hotels, baroque codes of conduct, golden coins, and bafflingly antiquated technology continues to expand, so does the audience's curiosity, fascination, and craving for another serving. Stahelski and his scribes managed to widely broaden the John Wick mythos and universe using sparse revelations, which in my humble opinion is a bit of a double-edged sword. On the high upside, much of the appeal of the John Wick universe can be attributed to its all-encompassing sense of ambiguity. So as a result, the rather casual nature of these world-building disclosures is easier to swallow and keeps the audience in inquisitive mode with regard to this odd version of Earth that's staring right back at them through their silver screens and smart TVs. And of course gets them all pumped up for the next installment in the series, which I certainly am. But while that is certainly the case, I couldn't help but feel a tinge of concern for the storytelling and overall longevity of the series. Stahelski and Kolstad need to be a bit more careful and not allow basic storytelling to collapse under the weight of their world-building ambitions. The new characters introduced in this film, entertaining as they are, sometimes feel a bit more like cogs in the universe-building machine rather than truly valuable appendages to the narrative. Like the first two John Wick films, the antagonists in this one aren't exactly anything to write home about. Moreover, the ending is all too obvious a setup for the fourth installment, and even with an insanely creative action franchise like John Wick, it's only a matter of time before it starts to feel a bit long in the tooth. Unless Stahelski and his penmen can find a way to thematically deepen the mythos even further, rather than just inserting a few small bits of world building building in order to stretch the franchise out for future installments. Despite a couple of grievances here and there, the more gratifying recollections of John Wick 3 have refused to leave this old noggin ever since my initial viewing, so clearly something was done right. With its glowing critical reception, an already announced sequel, a TV spin-off series in the works, and box office numbers being higher than the first two films combined, I think it's needless to say that the future is looking pretty bright for John Wick. And while I may have a few reservations about the quality's consistency going forward, my mind veers more towards the optimistic end of the spectrum. That is simply because the John Wick films, in full-on defiance of my skepticism, have been chock full of surprises, and John Wick 3 is certainly no exception. Boasting the kind of creativity that is sorely missed from these uninspired Hollywood action films, John Wick stands out for all the right reasons. And much like a gourmet fast food meal made by a Michelin star chef, John Wick 3 has more than adequately satiated my desires for the time being, and of course has left me jonesing for more. So I'm gonna give John Wick 3 a very strong 8. So these are my thoughts on John Wick 3. What did you think of the film? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what I do, give me a like, hit that big subscribe button, stay tuned, and I will see you on the next one.